This is LT Melton with FetchYourNews.com, and we're here with Fannin High School head volleyball coach Jason Stanley. Coach, you guys had the most successful year of the program's history. You made the state tournament this year, and this was the first year that the senior girls were actually freshmen in the program. Talk a little bit about you guys' success and the growth of the program as a whole.
Well, this year we changed a lot. We changed our entire offensive program, our defensive program. We went to a back row setter position, which the girls had never done before. We went to a middle defense, which the girls had never done before. So we changed everything, really and truthfully. We were undersized. I knew that coming into this year that we were going to be undersized, so I knew I had to find a program that would actually work in our benefit with an undersized bunch of girls. And the first day in the summer, we started working on that program, and it showed. The girls really bought into it. The girls really came together. This was also the first year that, as you said, we had a senior group of girls who had played actually 4 years, because this is such a brand new program. Amy Brownlee was the only one on the varsity side that actually played all 4 years at varsity level. So she was there at the beginning. She's been there from the whole thing, and she was one of our leaders this year, absolutely. But we were still a pretty young team. We had only had 3 seniors that I graduated this year. I had a bunch of sophomores, a lot of sophomores, and so I'm expecting a lot of growth from this new program with a bunch of younger kids. I'm also expecting them to grow a little bit, so it won't be the undersized team. We moved into a new area this year that we competed really well in. I was just really and truthfully, any success that we had is due to the girls, not anything I did. I changed the program up, but they still had to implement that whole thing. And we played really hard all year. We got there toward the end of the year. We kind of got a little, I don't know what was going on. There was a little bit of tension. I think the pressure got to them toward the end there. We had a good little team that played really well all year, and then at the end of the year we got a little pressure on us, and it kind of fumbled us. But I think that it was a growing experience for them. I think that if we get ourselves in the same situation next year, which I hope to, that they'll perform much better when we get to the end of the season. And but I can't be more thrilled with a team that did what they did. 26-11-1. We shattered the old school record, 14-12. We finished in the runners-up in the area. We had first year in the playoffs. I mean, it's something to build off of, and so I'm very pleased with that.
Now, coming into the season, obviously, again, it's your first class of senior girls that were 4-year girls. Were you expecting to have this kind of success, or were you maybe tempering it, knowing you had to change your system up?
I was tempering it. I really was. I wasn't really expecting us to do as well as we did. What I was expecting us to do was compete. And I really thought that I had the type of girls who, and that's what I looked for, was girls who were tenacious. They wanted to, defense. That's my key. You're in baseball and football, the defense wins championships. But it also, for me, volleyball's the same way. We had the first 4-year team, but we don't have any feeding program. So that we finally had some girls who had 4 years of volleyball experience.
Right.
But really, truthfully, I knew that we had a lot of younger kids too, and I was hoping those older kids, which they did, that was their biggest contribution of the year. I mean, yet they contributed in the volleyball court a lot, but they also helped those younger kids kind of grow up in the program during the year. So I was expecting us to compete. I was expecting us to, and the girls set the goals. I let them set the goals at the beginning of the year, and their first goal is always a winning record. Second goal this year, they wanted to finish in the top 2 in the area. Third was to make the state playoffs. They accomplished everything they set out to do. And so the amount of success that we had, I expected us to be successful, but not on the scale that we actually wound up. So I was extremely pleased this year.
Now, Coach, I heard you give credit to your girls, but it looks like the region thought that you had something to do with success. They named you the Coach of the Year. Talk a little bit about that honor, and did you have any idea that it would be bestowed upon you?
I have no idea. I mean, this is only my 3rd year coaching volleyball. I played a little bit of sandpit volleyball when I was a kid. I didn't know. I had to start my first year. I didn't know anything. I had to go through and learn how to do it. And but any honor that they gave me, it's a direct result of what the girls did on the court, you know, and that's the truth. What I think they looked at was they looked at the win-loss record, and that gave me the area award. I mean, honestly, I gave them the program. I said, okay, this is what we're going to do, but it doesn't work unless the girls do something about it. And so with that record, I mean, all the credit goes to the girls. I got the honor based upon their ability on the court. You know? So I don't want to say that I did this. I think that they chose me because of the way the girls played.
Now, I'm glad that you mentioned the ability of the girls and what they did. You mentioned earlier that maybe the pressure got to you guys in the back half of the season. Yeah. But did you think that, or did it seem that when you guys started off hot, that the team started to get a little bit more confidence and started feeding off of it?
They did. We started out much better than we have any year before. We were competing with any team you put on the court with us. We were always undersized. And I think the reason when we did compete with these teams that looked like on paper, or actually if you just looked at us warming up out there, they were just going to pound us in the dust. And when we actually compete with them, the girls got a lot of confidence. And as that they started playing better and better and better and better. But then at the end of the year, when we actually finally, for the first time in 4 years, started getting recognition, you know, that, hey, you guys aren't that bad and stuff like that. I think the girls kind of stopped them and said, uh-oh, you know, now if I make a mistake or something, it's going to, you know. But I mean, I'm more proud of this bunch than I am of any other team I've coached because of what they accomplished with everything that changed. And in fact, they were undersized. We had a heck of a group. We had the best floor defense of any team we've had here at Fannin County. They wouldn't let anything hit the ground unless there was a body trying to go for it. I mean, they're just a great bunch of kids. I mean, it's the kind of kids you want to coach because they're so passionate about the game. And I'm hoping this season is going to help us, you know, grow from this point. You know, maybe instead of just this being the first year that we can make the playoffs, or you know, that this is going to start to become a not regular, but just acceptable thing. You know, that's what we're going to aim for every year from now on. Instead of just hoping we can field the team to compete, now I hope we can field the teams year after year that will make a mark on the program that would help grow it to a level that we want it to be.
Right. Now, speaking of that growth, what have you seen from the off season? I know, you know, the season is kind of fresh, and some of the girls are obviously playing other sports, playing basketball, getting ready for that off season. But what have you seen so far that gives you hope for the next year and the upcoming years after that? I'm graduating 3 girls, and I'm going to miss every one of them. Amy Brownlee, back row leadership. Lindsay Humphrey led the team in aces. She was also our second leader in kills, team captain. Hannah Pace, she was the heart and soul of the team all year. She was the encourager. She was the one that got behind everybody. I'm going to miss them, but what I've got coming back next year, I've got Savannah Vanderhoven, who she led the team in kills this year. She was also leading the team in digs. She's only a sophomore, and so I've got 2 more years with her. I've got Casey Mathis, who's coming back playing middle. She was an undersized middle, but she's going to grow and she's going to get her confidence, and she's going to be a force in that middle. Katie Mosley's going to be coming back. She's also a sophomore, as Casey is. She played opposite hitter for us this year. I'm going to try to move her probably to the hitting position, take Lindsay's spot. I've got Kelly Cox, this little spunky setter, little small girl who's all over the court. She's going to help us out on the back row and probably help us with setting next year. I've got Jay Graham. I've got Shelby Bays. I've got Brittany Apt. Jade, she's battled some injuries here, but I think she's going to come back and be a pretty good opposite hitter for us next year, or a middle hitter, depending on how it works out. Brittany's going to be another anchor. She was the 3rd leading defensive person we had on the team. She's coming back. She's going to be a senior. Jade's going to be a senior. Shelby, this is her first year playing varsity volleyball.
But I've also, and she performed pretty well. I've also got a freshman who came up. It's Jay's sister, Cheyenne Graham, who is going to be a beast. And so I've got a young bunch of kids who are coming up behind them who've had that year of experience that I think I really look for good things next year. I think that confidence from this year is going to play over to where we might, if not equal, but exceed what we did this year.
Now, having had that success, have you noticed that more girls have become interested in playing volleyball for Fannin?
Yes, I think this is the first year we tried a C team. We don't have a feeder program at the middle school. We don't have a rec program, so we tried a C team out this year, which was made up of just ninth graders.
Right.
We fielded a C team of 10 girls plus a JV, and so I'm hoping with this success and the amount of attention they got this year that we're not just going to have we might have a C team plus another. We might have two C teams or something.
Right.
Just enough just to get them in the court. Get them on the court. We have a summer program where any girl can come in and play. And this past year, we had quite a few girls. I'm hoping to build upon that. I'm actually hoping to build upon it to grow it as not just a high school sport, but as a county-wide, whether it's a club, middle school, recreation, younger girls start getting involved into it. And maybe we'll have a program that goes not just from 9th grade to 12th, but from 9 or 10 years old to the high school level. And the girls who play it love it. And that's what I try to encourage fun.
Right.
It's still a sport, so I try to encourage that. So I'm hoping this past year with the success, sorry about that.
No problem.
The success, maybe that we'll be able to put more emphasis, more athletes will start coming out for volleyball. Yes.
Well, and one last question, Coach. How do you balance when you have a team that's had the best record the sports ever had at your school? How do you balance between keeping the girls from getting that big head, but also having that confidence that they can compete at a high level?
It's a fine line because I coach football, baseball, wrestling, boys sports, and then they told me to coach volleyball. Girls and boys have totally different buttons you got to push, and I had to learn the hard way on several occasions. What makes this group that I coach so special is that they have confidence, but they're not cocky. They walk on the court expecting to win, but they know, and I tell them every time before we go out on the court, okay, you have to earn it. They're not going to give it to you. Every pass, every set, every serve, make it happen. Earn that win. And I really try to put that into them, that nothing's going to be given to you. They're not looking over us anymore. They won't be next year either. They're not going to look at Fannin stats and automatic win. They know that now. We're going to have to earn everything. And we had that great success this past year, but that was last year. Let's start over from the beginning. Let's find out. Let's see what we can do now. This is a totally different. Next year's team is going to be totally different from this year's team. We're going to probably have to. I've got to in the off season. That's what I do. Is I look at who I might be coming back. What am I going to need? What kind of program is going to work with this bunch of kids? And those kids who buy into it are the ones who will make it. And they understand that every time they step on the court, they're competing. And some days, we got their numbers. Some days they got ours. The thing about volleyball, it's a momentum sport. It can sway either way really quick. And those who have the big heads, they're the ones that usually wind up having a very bad lesson that night. It's one of those things that I can't control. But I try to instill they have to compete every day. You can't just walk on the court. You got to compete every day. So I'm hoping, and I hope to do that with this bunch next year, but since I got so many young ones, I'm hoping that they've learned that lesson.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time, and good luck next year.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.